Hello, on this video I'm going to show you how to install a Rocky version of Linux. And so let's get started. First, before I do the installation of Rocky version of Linux, I'm going to show you what I've already covered, which is the installation on the actual video number one. We already covered Red Hat and Ubuntu operating systems. So let me just go through a slideshow on this one. As you can see, we already have video number one posted on the My Web University Free Education video channel. So when you go there, you will see how to power on Red Hat and Linux Ubuntu, and how to get the OS version information, log out, and power off the virtual machine. For Red Hat and as well as for Linux Ubuntu. That was video number one. And video number two, I'm going to cover Rocky Linux. In particular, I'm going to install the virtual machine for Rocky version, okay? So let's get started with that one, and then we are going to just show you, this is what we already posted on the channel for video number one, and then that would be just to show you what I just discussed. So in order to do the second video, which is installation of Rocky, I'm going to show you on the browser side that on the browser side, as you can see here, the Rocky operating system. I'm sorry, the Rocky website, rockylinux.org. And if you go by default on this page, you will see the menu here. On the menu, if you click on the About Rocky version, you can see the co-founder Gregory Kurtzer just mentioned as co-founder Rocky McGaw. So he's no longer with them, and then he's giving respect and kind of credit for him that they both wrote the Rocky version of Linux, and the Rocky is a replacement for CentOS version that was previously introduced. CentOS, as you can see, is Community Enterprise Edition of operating system. The C stands for Community, ENT for Enterprise, and OS is the operating system. And now Rocky has replaced the CentOS version. As of version 8.x, CentOS is no longer supported by Red Hat. It is end of life. And then the Rocky version is the Community Edition for replacement of that one. So if I go back here on the main page, there's a download directory, which I already click on it. And then as you can see here, there's for every platform that they supported, on x86 64-bit, under the DVD section, I click on it. And then if I go Control J here on my browser, you can see that the Rocky 92 x86 64-bit DVD ISO image has already been downloaded on my download directory. So if I go on my download directory, you can see that Rocky 92 x86 64 DVD is already there for installation. So in order to do that installation, I can also come in on the command line and just get some information to make sure that the version that I get is good. So a Rocky star, that would show the Rocky ISO DVD that it is available. And then it is a little bit huge. You can see it's about 9 gig altogether. So when we do installation, it might take a little bit to do it. Maybe we could pause some part of it, but in order to do this one, since it says x86 64-bit, I have to do system info, and then pipe find string /I, and then look for model, the architecture of my processor that is there. Since the processor is saying that Intel 64-bit, then I'm good with it. At the same time, if I want to know my operating system OS name, then I'm running it on a Windows operating system. That's when I download it. It is for Microsoft Windows version 11 or version 10. They all could be compatible with it. At the same time, if I want to see my memory to make sure that I have enough memory for the virtual machine, for physical machine, I have 32 gig. There's plenty of space. 25 gig is available. So I'm gonna allocate 16, but the minimum you need at least 2 gig in order to be able to install it. If you have 4 or 8 or 16, that's even better because it's more performance is better in comparison to a 2 gig. At the same time here, if I go to a device manager, for example, and I want to see the processor right here, if I click on the processor, you can see my processor is 11th generation Intel Core 64-bit with 3.4 gigahertz speed. At the same time, I have 8 of these cores. That means I have about 8 processor to run with it, and then I can just allocate at least 4 of them for this virtual machine. So that information is there. I'm good to continue, and this is the DVD. So I come in on the Virtualbox configuration here. On the Virtualbox configuration, this one is power off because when you install it, if you just don't need it, I mean, like last time I did this one, I'm going to delete this one. I just don't need it. So let me just delete that one. And you can say, go ahead and remove it right here by clicking remove. And then I'm going to delete all the files. I don't need the virtual VDI files. So it is additional software. But now I'm going to do a fresh install because I want to show you how to do a virtual machine installation. And if you need to do Ubuntu on the previous video, I have already done that one. If you need to do Red Hat, I have already done that one. So this is for Rocky. So in order to do the Rocky, I can click here, new. And notice when I do this new, this menu on the bottom does not show. So, and I don't have an option here to, maybe I have an option here to resize it. Let me just see if I can resize it, that menu. Right here, let me just see where did it go. It might be somewhere here. Okay. Alternate tab. It is not this menu. This not this one. And Virtualbox should have had it. Oh, because of this one, I have more option here to go a number of them. Let me just minimize these windows. Somehow it is hiding behind this one and it disappears. So I press escape here and now I get this menu back here. Let's see if I could just move this one. Oh, every time you click on it, it just goes out and disappears on you. So I cannot see this one. The only other option I have is to exit out of this and then come back to the display setting. For a moment, I could just change my display setting because I did it for the size so I can see it better. I'm gonna put 125 here with display. Now I can see the menu a little bit better right here. So when I click on the new, you can see that I have these options and that are showing on the bottom as really small. But it's really bothersome because this screen has all this space. They should just shrink this one so you could see the entire thing if you have a different setting. However, that's not something that I have control over. So let me just give it, the name of it is Rocky. And I'm gonna just say Rocky 9. So when I do Rocky 9, notice that the type, it says Windows. I'm not going to do Windows. This one is Linux. So we choose Linux here. And then this one says Oracle Linux 64-bit. And then at this time, I'm going to do these other options after. So I'm going to say finish. finish, and now I go back on the menu here, display, and then change the display back to 150 so I can see it better. And when I display for you guys could see it better like this. As you can see, if I just double click on this one and it opens this Rocky, now it's much easier to see it. So I'm gonna go to the setting this time and notice the setting. Now I can see the whole thing and I see the OK prompt. So under the general setting, everything is okay, and the type is Linux and Oracle 64-bit version, that's fine. And then here, if you see that the option that are not selected properly, you can still select it. So in this case, it's Rocky version 9 is Linux. I'm gonna go under the system, and then under the system, the motherboard, as you can see by default, the base memory is 2 gig. I'm gonna allocate 16 gig. So I'm gonna go 16384, that is about 16 gig. And then on the processor, it is one processor, I wanna give it 4 processor. So now it's 4 processor here, and everything else is okay. Acceleration is fine, the default one. So this is all good here. The display is, video memory on the display is 128. I'm going to move it up to all the way to the last one, 128 meg, rather than 16 meg that was there. And then monitor count is 1 monitor is good. All that type is there. And then on the remote display and other ones, I leave it the default. And storage here, I'm going to just click right here and select the actual ISO image. So when I go here and then I select ISO image here, I say choose that one. Now the DVD ISO image is there to boot from it. The integrated IDE environment that is there, not integrated development environment. IDE is integrated. This something I forgot the abbreviation. Doesn't matter. It's either IDE or say the type of the disk that you have. So since I have the IDE, I'm going to just go to audio here, and then on the audio is fine, and then network is NAT, network address translation, that is good. I'm going to use NAT, which is going to bridge over my Ethernet interface, and then I'm going to get a Wi-Fi in this case. If you have a Ethernet, it will just go to Ethernet, and then the USB drive, I just use it later on. Storage-wise, we did that one, and the display, and then system mouse. The mouse, make sure that this one is where it says the PS2 mouse, use the USB tablet. The USB tablet is a little bit better on my interface, but maybe for yours it's going to be different. So it will just, you select to that option. And then here, everything looks good. I did not give the hard disk space. So let me just look at the hard disk storage wise. And then we did this one already. And then let me see what other option that I need to allocate. System, we did that. Processor, acceleration, hard disk, display, storage. Storage, and then the VDI file is here. Network serial, USB, standard, base memory, that I did that one, and hard disk is selected. Okay, so everything looks good. I'm going to just say start, and then at some point when the other values are going to be prompted for me, I'm going to select it. So powering on the machine is going to just power on, but at this time I go to view, and I want to just do a scale mode so I can see a little bit bigger screen. As you can see, I don't want to do test, I don't want to do troubleshoot, so I want to do install. I select that option, install Rocky Linux 9.2, and I click on it, and it just goes through the menu for it. Mouse integration is there at this time. Okay, so the good news is that it came out, it detected the graphical interface already, Rocky Linux 9.2, and it is English. I'm going to just click on continue. So it goes there, the keyboard is English, language support is English, and then time date is Los Angeles already picked up for me, which is Pacific Standard Time, that's correct. United States, Los Angeles. Installation source is local media, which is accurate. I'm going to do it from my source software installation. Server with GUI, that's fine. I'm going to do the server with GUI. And then installation destination is not selected yet. I'm going to check on it and then say that this 20 gig, I'm going to just, by default, it says that it's 20 gig. I should have gone at the time that I wanted to go get larger. I could have just allocate larger, but the default one is 20 gig. And then I could just say add disk. And then let's say, for example, here I say, add this to it, and then just see if we can add additional one, none, multiple. Let's see, right here, I'm going to just take out here. Right here, you could also say customize, if you want to do installation of the customization on partitioning the file system, you could do it. Since this is just a temporary test, 20 gig is plenty. I'm going to continue with this one. I'm not gonna expect to do a lot of software installation afterward. This is just for testing purpose to show you how to do the VM. The one that I use is either Linux Ubuntu or the Red Hat version that I have more space on it. I could have always add more disk on it later on if I want to do it with the logical volume. There's a command line also. I can use it to extend it here. So this is the disk. I say done. Now the installation is going to just select it, and now it says automatic partition. The kernel dump is enabled, a network host. It's already picked up my network device, and it shows that I'm already good with Ethernet ENPS3. So that is good. It is already there. Security profile and no profile selected. If I want to do a profile security, I have option to do it, but at this time, let's just go with the default one. And then here under the other option, root password, I click on root password and I type in the root password. And then I retype the root password to confirm again. And it has to be strong, so you can see the strong green color is showing. I don't want to lock the root password, allow root SSH. I don't want to allow root SSH either. So that is good. And then I can do other accounts also. So right here, let's see if they give me option for creating other account. And now it does not show other account, but I will just add it afterward. Since I have the root, I can do user add. So I'm going to start the installation here. And then when the installation goes there, because I have given 16 gig, it should be fast enough to do this work quicker than normal installation. If you have 2 gig or something, it's still gonna be working fine for you. You should be good with all that thing. So at this time, I'm going to just pause the video so you don't waste too much time waiting for this one. I'm going to resume afterward. Okay, in this case, for my system, speed and performance, it looked like it took between 3 to 5 minutes. It depends on your resources, availability. So now the installation is there, completed. And then I have to also agree with the license, but I'm going to reboot the system. And it's going to prompt me through the second step after the post installation. So I'm going to reboot it at this time and see how long it takes for it to just come up as normal. And then there's some post upgrade installation that I could do it also. And then that would be just done on the graphical interface on next video as well as terminal. So I don't want to make this video too long. Once you're done with the installation, this is going to reboot the system. Right now it is just sitting here. It should have rebooted by now. I'm going to close this one, say, and go ahead, power it off. And then at this time, and then ask it again to just power it on. When you do power on at this time, since the installation has started, the reboot should take effect right away now. It should not take there. Okay, so that it goes back to the installation. I'm not going to do this part. I'm going to just say go ahead and pause it. And then at this time, I'm going to go back to the setting and remove the storage for it. This one, the DVD ISO image, I'm going to remove that one. Once you remove it, and now you have the hard disk there, it should boot off of hard disk rather than the ISO image. So these are some of the a little bit checking that you have to do for your system to make sure that the system comes up after the installation. So auto capture keyboard, all these kind of notification, I'm going to let it go, and then I'll just wait for it. Now it is installed, and it is going to go through the startup screen and everything. So at this time, I click on the startup just to do it, and then click on the privacy. And by default, location services on. I leave that one on, and then these other connect to your online account. At this time, I'm going to skip it. The user account, I'm going to create an account with full name Wahidullah. And then a username, I'm going to just click type in short for my name Wahidullah. My short name is Wahid. So I could log in shorter names. And this is my real name, my actual name. So enterprise login level, and then I just say, go ahead, click next. I type in the password for it. And then I confirm the password. And then click on next. Here, all done. Start using Rocky version. So now the Rocky version is ready for me. It goes through a tour. I don't want to go through a tour because I'm familiar with it. It is the interface is much like Red Hat Linux, as you can see here. I have a terminal to open, and I have all these other file manager, Firefox, and so on. All of those ones, as well as the activity page. I can click on the activity and then see what are the resources there. I can also type in terminal here to just open a terminal. And if I just open a terminal, I get the operating system information here. If I just exit out of this one under this terminal, under activity, I can also click here and open a terminal. So now if I say cat -n etc OS release, and then it's going to show me that I have a Rocky Linux version. And then this option, I could do a Shift Control Plus to make a little bit the screen bigger. So I could see the font bigger size. And also under that view of this one, you can also resize it. Let me see where the view is for the scale mode versus the other option that we have under the Virtualbox itself. So the network setting is here that you can see that I'm wirelessly connected. I can power it off, and then I can open terminals. And then here I have all these other options that are there, and I can also resize it from here, saying that just size it bigger. And then I can also go minimize it here. And then if I want to open it back here, I have to go on the Virtualbox here and then say show. And then also I can just resize this one by clicking here, and that would be full screen. Notice There's one here, and then there's other ones. You can also click on this terminal to open more terminal session to do further, and then Shift plus, make it bigger, and then you can see this command line information, host name, and then uname minus, let's say S for the system, minus dash dash kernel. Name would give you the same thing that dash S does, dash O, for example, for Linux version, and then V the version, and then R for release name, dash M for our architecture platform is P, and then M for machine type. So all of that details are there, but at the same time, if you look at etc star release file, release, then you can see that the OS dash release, Red Hat dash release. Since this is based on Red Hat, you can also cat etc Red Hat dash release, and that would just show you 9.2, but it is showing the Rocky versus Red Hat Enterprise Linux. On the OS version that was Red Hat, we saw that when we cat Red Hat dash release, and instead of Rocky, it was showing Red Hat Enterprise Linux, and this one is Rocky Linux release. This is a substitution for CentOS. So we did have this system here. One last thing that I want to do is that I want to become root and then apply the latest update to make sure that I have all the software update up to date. And the way you do that one, you can close this window, and this main window that I opened, I can become sudo su dash, and it's going to prompt me for my password, because if I'm not on the password file, on the sudo files, I have to add myself. But because earlier I did it, I could do that one to become root, or I could say switch user dash and just type in the password of the root. I don't have to sudo switch user do. I can do this. Now you can see my root login is there, ID-UN is showing that this root ID-GN is also get end password. The root is just there, and then if I just look for Wahid, it is there as well. So you can see all the information is set. At this time, I'm going to do a DNF list. That is the new version for version 7.6 and up. Anything after 7.6, YAM replaced to be DNF-3, and DNF also symbolic link to YAM is also symbolic link to DNF-3, and DNF is also symbolic link to DNF-3. And DNF-3 is actually a Python executable, Python script. So if I say which DNF, you can see it is that, and which DNF-3, it is also showing that. And then if I say file a user ban DNF, you can see that it's symbolic link to DNF-3. Similarly, YAM is symbolic link to DNF-3. But the DNF-3 itself, DNF-3 is a Python script that is about 61 or 62 lines long. So what we could do at this time, I'm going to do a DNF list. We did it. I'm going to do update. DNF update is going to prompt me saying that, okay, there's about 139 megabytes of 15 packages that needs to be updated. I'm going to update all of them. So this is a post installation to make sure you have the latest and greatest software with no vulnerability. And you say, yeah, go ahead, do all of them. And then at this time, our system will be up to date. When you do this one for security purpose, that's what you should do with every version that you do. So in this case, since it's based on Red Hat, when I did this one, now if I do it the second time, it says your system is up to date, is complete, and then nothing to do is complete. So now it is good. It's all available for me. I'm gonna do system reboot, and then that will just reboot the system, and then bring it back to the original configuration. And then if At some point, because it's logical volume file system, I will have to just show you more on the VM and then how-tos. But this video just complete this installation, and now I'm logging in as again as user Wahid, and then I should get the prompt. And now my system is up to date, and you can see the interface comes in, and right here on the activity, when I click on it, all these ones like show all application, I'll show this one on the next video when we are doing the graphical user interface. Okay, so at this time I'm going to say log out. I'm going to first log out of the system, and then I'm going to power it off, say power off, and now I'll be safely shutting down this virtual machine. And we just showed you how to do the Rocky version installation using the virtual machine. So please make sure that if you haven't subscribed to our channel, which is my Web University free education videos, please make sure you subscribe, because I'm providing a lot of how-tos, whether it's shell programming or Bash or Python or C, C++, Apache. There's a lot of for example, how to boot from the DVD, how to boot on a single user mode, how to do Bash scripting, Python programming, MySQL, SQL Server, system admin activity. There's a lot of videos here. As you can see, I have more than 1,100 videos, and then you're welcome to just make comments. Some of this one, like Red Hat Linux version 9 from 0 through hero, it basically I have the whole video for 4 hours. 4 hours, you just learn everything on Red Hat Enterprise Linux version 9, the latest that is available. From basic to intermediate to advanced, I cover all in 4 hours video, and it is better than college levels in some levels, because in that for video I summarized the whole thing in different chapters. I have done this one in a number of years, so I make sure that you understand it, and just you're welcome to just subscribe on our channel and start learning, whether it's NumPy, Python, or even for the Afghan community, that whether boys or girls, they want to learn Linux or Unix or Windows. I have made videos, because and Farsi actually, and similarly, and the people of the nice people that we have in Afghanistan and Iran and Tajikistan, all of those wonderful people, you're welcome to subscribe to our channel and start learning in Farsi as well. And then all the other wonderful people that are in other countries that they speak English, you're welcome to watch my other channels. So please just help each other. That's all I'm saying. Take care. God bless you all. Bye-bye now.